And so to stop filling and get to the real deal here, the weapons team's been making all kinds of awesome stuff lately. I think Wither Horde's awesome. There's another sweet exotic coming out pretty soon, and we've been trying to find the mix between awesome new stuff and some classics. And a little over a year ago, we started to bring back some of the like the classics in an archetype that is near and dear to my and a bunch of our players' hearts as well. And so we started off with The Last Words and Thorn, and this fall we're going to kind of complete that holy trinity from D1 with Hawkmoon. And I'm imagining an image is going to be shown. Yeah. So before people wonder about Luck in the Chamber, talk about Luck in the Chamber a minute, the OG Hawkmoon had the interesting and sometimes annoying property of all of the bullets stacking into one and then zonking someone and deleting them in PvP, and then you kind of wonder, like, what the hell happened? And that randomness of Hawkmoon is kind of a defining property emotionally for the gun. But the team has envisioned a bold new direction for Hawkmoon that's going to move the randomness in a different direction off of the damage, so there's no Luck in the Chamber or holding Ace's perks for it. And I think we'll probably talk more about that, as we get a little closer to launch.
Yeah, you heard that right. Hawkmoon is returning to Destiny 2 in Beyond Light, the next expansion. But what I'm really here to talk about is, what does that mean for the weapon? Will Hawkmoon return as the same weapon it once was? Because how do you maintain the identity of a weapon that was based solely on randomness? For those of you that don't know what Hawkmoon is, it was a very iconic exotic hand cannon from Destiny 1, and obviously now it's returning in Destiny 2. And its exotic perk was essentially that it had 3 bullets randomly placed within its 13 bullet magazine that would do increased damage. Enough damage to actually 2-tap Guardians in some scenarios if you got one after another, or better yet, at one point in time, these random bullets could all stack into one bullet, if that somehow makes sense, to 1-tap a Guardian. So you can see how this could be terribly powerful and both incredibly frustrating and random all at the same time, because your gunfights between a Hawkmoon user and someone else using Hawkmoon, if this is a very strong weapon, become who runs into the lucky bullet first and who gets to maybe one-shot each other first, again at the point in time that it could. Some additional small details on Hawkmoon for those again that didn't play Destiny 1, it's a 140 RPM equivalent to the adaptive archetype hand cannons, and it had rather low or average range and stability, so it had a hefty amount of recoil, mediocre-ish range, but it had the ability to randomly do higher damage, so that was worth it for many. But I go back to the question of, how is it actually going to function in Destiny 2? I've been asked this so many times actually while streaming. People come in and say, if you like Hawkmoon, which it is one of my favorite hand cannons, I used to snipe with it often, shotgun with it often, I just love the way it looks. It's like the Desert Eagle of the Destiny franchise, but I'm going off the rails right now. I've been asked this so many times, and I don't know how to give an answer. I've never been able to give an accurate answer, because how do you retain the identity of a weapon that is solely based on RNG, on randomness? And randomness isn't good, in my opinion, in gunfights and in FPS games, in my opinion. So it's really trying to break down the identity of Hawkmoon. The way I see Hawkmoon is that it's a high-risk, high-reward weapon. It, of course, has that randomness factor that can lead to some really clutch moments, and it, of course, has the increased damage, that insanely high damage output. So I think this presents a few routes that can be taken to maintain the identity of the weapon. Firstly, would have to be a deterministic approach that doubles down on the massive damage output of the weapon. And I can't help but think that the first thing that comes to my head with this is Not Forgotten is currently being sunset. Is it possible that they would use Not Forgotten or other pinnacle weapons perks on new exotics as a way of kind of rebalancing them and bringing them back forward in some kind of spiritual successor, where Magnificent Howl would appear on Hawkmoon as a 140 RPM hand cannon and be in its original state. This would mean a few things. So originally, the Magnificent Howl perk gave you a damage boost of roughly 2.3 times damage, which is pretty insane. It took the Not Forgotten and Luna's Howl from dealing 57 damage as a critical hit to 131 damage. On a 140 RPM hand cannon, this would take it from 68 damage to 156 damage. That is pretty insane in terms of damage output, and I think would definitely fall in place with the high damage output potential originally that I think of when I think of Hawkmoon. This would essentially allow you to get a 2 crit 1 body with Hawkmoon as a 140 RPM, and that would be of course a 0.87 second time to kill as we have now, just with 1 less critical hit. However, just like the original Magnificent Howl, if you were to end your gunfight and get a kill with 2 headshots, you could carry Magnificent Howl to the next target and kill in 1 crit 1 body. Or even maybe intentionally not get a kill and just keep dealing 150-ish damage consecutively to different targets. I don't know, for whatever reason, I think that the original Magnificent Howl is actually a really creative way of making Hawkmoon more deterministic without losing some of its identity. And I do believe, just like the original Magnificent Howl on Not Forgotten and Luna's Howl, that this has a high skill ceiling because of how many different options it gives you in terms of how you're going to utilize this perk and how well you can utilize it when it is active, which makes it more high risk, high reward. However, with Hawkmoon, it would be harder, especially if it had a lower stability stat, to actually activate Magnificent Howl than it would be on Not Forgotten, since Not Forgotten is a precision frame. It doesn't recoil like the 140s, so this would be a little more difficult, a little bit more risk reward. So again, I think this falls in line pretty well. But there's a problem with this theory, and if you saw the clip at the beginning of the video, you know what that is. Luke Smith himself said that the randomness is truly part of the identity of the weapon, which I can't dispute, that's true, and that the weapons team was looking to curb that randomness in some other aspect that is not damage. So that kind of tells me that the randomness, or that random factor, or luck in the chamber type thing will still be there, but it's not going to be tied to damage. So what could it possibly be tied to? It would have to alter a trait of the weapon that is impactful enough to be worth it on an exotic, but at the same time can't alter it too much to the point that the weapon isn't the original identity and is no longer a 140 hand cannon. So I would eliminate rate of fire, and I guess we could say maybe stability, but I think that would start to feel pretty jarring if the weapon just randomly had better stability, but I'm not sure. I'd have to play it and see how it feels. The point is, if it's not damage, it has to be stats. I don't believe the rate of fire will change. I think that just goes a little too off the rails. Who knows? I could be wrong. This is all my theory and speculation, but I think stats are going to be the main thing that changes randomly with 3 bullets or whatever bullets in its chamber. So what do we know is the most impactful stats to a hand cannon that is currently almost suffering a little bit right now, right? What about range and aim assist and cones? Bear with me. What if Hawkmoon comes back and has 3 bullets randomly that pretty much give it opening shot times 1,000? Just insane range, insane accuracy, and insane aim assist. This could be the peak of the cone meme. What if Hawkmoon just gets improved accuracy cones and aim assist cones and insanely boosted range for 3 random bullets in the magazine? Now I know what you guys are thinking, Drew, you're going off the rails. The cones have gotten to your head. But seriously, the more I think about this, the more it would actually make sense. It would not be damage related, or kind of damage related because of range drop off, but it wouldn't be damage boost related in any way. And I think it's something that, again, if scaled correctly, could be mega impactful, but not be really game breaking. I don't know, like I said, this is just all my personal speculation. This is just my theories of how it could work. Ultimately, we're not going to know until we have hands-on with the weapon itself when we actually see it. And if there's one thing I know, Bungie's design team are some of the most creative designers I've ever seen for a game. They have some crazy ideas. They've brought weapons back that maintain their identity but also do something crazy but balance it in a way that makes sense. They've held the track record with me of bringing exotics back that allows them to be powerful, super unique in new ways that don't break the game. So I'm pretty cool with it, and I'm excited to see what they do for Hawkmoon. But I really do think that the, let's call it opening shot, luck in the chamber type deal really might be it for this weapon. But the question is that enough? I think if those 3 bullets are randomly like sniper range bullets, I'm exaggerating, but incredibly high range bullets with high accuracy, high aim assist, it would be enough for me. But at face value, that might not be enough for some people. For other people, the damage boost might be missing. So maybe, like other exotics that do have an exotic perk and another trait perk, they could give this something like Rampage or Kill Clip or some sort of a basic damage boost of some sort. I'm not sure, to pair with the increased range on 3 bullets. Who knows? But I guess aside from this, the last way that this could go is Hawkmoon could just become an incredibly kind of niche, crazy high risk, high reward weapon that requires kind of the stars aligning and you can just absolutely decimate someone with it. I don't know how this would work at all, but maybe it would go this just super high risk, super high reward route. I'm very doubtful of this as well, also because they said the whole one tapping thing was not cool, and I agree. So I'm, again, very doubtful of this. But again, we'll have to wait and see. I do want to mention before we call it on this video, everyone that's saying return Hawkmoon as a 150, guys, there's a track record here. No weapon has come back to Destiny 2 without their original archetype. That is part of the identity of the weapon. We have yet to see an archetype change from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, as far as I know at least. Even Last Word came back as a 225 RPM hand cannon. If that's staying at that, I'm very doubtful anything else changes, but who knows? I might really eat my words in this video because it's all my prediction. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you'd like to see more content like this, check me out on Twitch. I stream very frequently. Twitch.tv/Drewskys. Link is in the description. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.